Hello, Westfield here, and welcome to another edition of the Weekly Rant. Today I'm joined by the lovely baseball lover. How are you doing?
Well, not that great.
Well, that's a great way to start off.
This morning and saw MLC Stage 9. But,
Don't spoil it for everyone else.
I'm not sick like Chew Dude, so I'm better than that, I guess.
Do you actually know we've done this? Like, we've done the Weekly Rant for like 30 weeks now? Something
36
like
or something like that.
Yeah, we've done it.
I post the number and everything in the PCM daily thread, and last week it was like 35 or something like that.
Crazy. I've never committed that much to a series before. Like,
well,
King of the Hill died out since MLC came around. It's going to come back after the Vuelta España. MLC, it's only like a 1 month thing, and same with the Failure Way. So the Weekly Rant is the only thing to stay like throughout the year. So I'm really happy about this show.
At the beginning, we were like, we want to make it the whole year, and this is our 36th one. So
that's crazy. Let's try and see if we can make it the entire year. It's like 54 weeks in a year, right?
There's 52, but we did 2 weeks before that. Remember the Christmas calendar, and then December 29th we started.
Correct. That's correct.
So.
But the thing is, when we get near the ending of the year, it's going to be really lackluster. Like, there's going to be no topics to really talk about.
Yeah, it's like December 10th.
There's going to be...
Jens tweeted that it was snowing.
I guess cyclocross will have to make its appearance on the Weekly Rant.
If only I ever followed cyclocross.
Baseball lovers' homework to the next Weekly Rant. Watch cyclocross.
No,
who knows?
The next Weekly Rant, it's, you know how we do the casual ones once in a while when there's not much going on?
Yeah.
All the Weekly Rants in November and December, it's just like, so what have you been doing? Oh, I've been playing some trials. Oh, that's good. I have some homework. That's fun.
Then see you guys later. That was 2 minutes of the Weekly Rant. Thank you guys for watching.
We did it the whole week.
We did it. That was so good. I mean, it still counts as an addition, right?
Hell yeah.
But on to the actual topics. As you guys might have noticed, the third biggest Grand Tour is going on at the moment, the Vuelta España. It started off with a team time trial, as the Giro d'Italia and the Vuelta España normally do. Movistar dominated that one, very surprisingly. What do you think about Cannondale and Movistar upsetting everyone else? Because Trek Factory Racing were the biggest favorites for this stage, but they didn't get the win.
Yeah, I think it's really weird that you see 3, 4, 5, Green Edge, Trek, Omega. These guys are really good TTT squads, and even Giant Shimano after them. And maybe they just didn't bring the best squads, but still, look at Cannondale's, team right now. They are certainly not any special time trialist. I think they have like Bodner's a decent time trialist. Who else is even good on their team? But somehow you pull it out. And Movistar, well, they set up their team for the GC perfectly, and it was kind of weird. Obviously you see GC teams, AG2R, Katusha,
Sky.
Sky even. Sky did not bring a great TT team here, but you see guys like AG2R and Katusha back, and you expect that. Now you see a team like Garmin in 18th, and obviously Garmin were not. They had to recon the course, and just to find the potholes, but they had to do that while they were riding because Coldo Fernandez is in this race.
Oh, and Dan Martin is too.
And so is Dan Martin. So you just have to. They obviously could not ride to actually do well in the stage.
Did you see?
But it's kind of funny to see them down there with like Caja Rual, Cofidis, Garmin.
Did you see David Miller's tweet after the team time trial? It was basically, "Yeah, we made it," and with all caps.
We actually made it to the finish, all 9 of us.
Yeah. I think they're really scared for another crash. They just wanted to be in the Vuelta España this time. And so far, Dan Martin has actually done really good. So it's a good thing they survived the team time trial. Is that really going to become a thing now? Like, every time Garmin Sharp is on a team time trial, you just...
Every stage that Garmin don't crash and lose time on the peloton, it's like champagne. Get some bubbly.
Well, I guess stage 7 there was no champagne anymore. We'll get to there. So, the next 4 stages were all sprint stages. And this is really... This is not the usual mix in the Vuelta España. Last year, there were like 2 sprint stages where Matthews took both. So far, we've already had twice that amount. We've got 4 sprint stages where Bohani, Matthews, and Degenkolb have taken some of the stages each, and John Degenkolb right now is looking really strong. But there are 2 specific scenarios I want to talk about. I believe it was stage 4 where Degenkolb totally boxed in Bohani, or did he? What do you think?
I don't think he did. I think that they were both very close to the barriers to begin with. And they went around a slight bend, and I don't think that taking that bend into account, Degenkolb really deterred from his line that much. He did not make any deliberate move towards Buhani when Buhani tried to launch, and I think Buhani just made a bad move trying to launch and find a little gap on the right side when he had room on the left side. I think it's purely really, really a bad judgment call by Buhani. It was a good move by Degenkolb to limit the amount that Buhani could use on the right side, but he never made a deliberate block on Buhani, so it's perfectly legal.
Okay, because he was also complaining about what they call clappers, those green things they clap together, inflatable. They're also complaining about those being in the way of Buhani. He was complaining about everything that day. Do you think they're an issue then?
I mean, I guess they're kind of an issue in every sport, having spectators do anything near the field of play, but I still think Buhani had it open to the left, and he had plenty of time to think about this decision, and I don't know. I think he just made a bad choice. Degenkolb played it smart, and that's it.
One memory comes to my mind though, Tour Hussaut in the 2011 or 12 Tour de France got hit by one of those inflatable things and crashed really badly. There was blood all over his face, and he had to go with the ambulance to the hospital and had to abandon the Tour de France. Do you remember which Tour de France that was? It was 09, 10, 11, 12.
It wasn't 10 because he won the green jersey, and it wasn't 11 because he did well then for Garmin.
It must have been 9 then, 09 I think.
Must have been 9, yeah.
Where he had to crash before the tour even started, and I believe he actually won the prologue that year as well. So it was looking really good for him, but even back then, those inflatable things were an issue. And you might think, Buhani could just not gone there. But what if there's 5 guys sprinting for the first place? I mean, I wish. And they all had to use the entire road. Some guys are going to go out in those spectators.
Well, I think you can blame it on them then, but I think that he had room this time, and I don't just...
Oh, yeah. In this specific incident, it's not their fault, but in the past, I've even been to races before. I've been to the Tour of Denmark. I've seen how stupid people can be. When they, lean over the edge to look where the riders come, and before you even know it, they're right past you, and you almost hit a guy. Myself included, the very first time I watched the race, that was me, but I learned from that mistake. It's crazy, though. But, okay, so you say, right there, John Degenkolb is not responsible if anything happened to Buhani.
No.
Okay, in stage 8, there was an incident like this, another sprint stage, where Buhani cut off Matthews to the line. In that scenario, was that Buhani's fault, or was that just bad luck from Matthews?
See, yes, this one, I think this is really a clear, diverse comparison, because in this case it is an unfair sprint. This is a bad sprint by Buhani. They are both holding their lines. Buhani has a good straight line in the middle of the road, and Matthews comes up on the side of him with room. It's not like Buhani, he went on the other side and Buhani had to veer out. And as Buhani saw, you can see him glance behind. Matthews comes, he's about halfway up, and Buhani jolts his bike, and so you have to have Matthews pull up because he doesn't want to hit Buhani. And I think in this case, it is clearly Buhani's fault because he made a direct move once he saw Matthews coming to get him off the road.
Okay,
or at least make him pull up like he did. And so in that case, I think that is Buhani's fault, and I think that Buhani has a habit for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I know he's known for the one guy who's really not sticking to his line. He's known for doing dirty things. Actually, props to Cosmo Catalano for doing a video on how to sprint in the actual national peloton. One of the rules in the rule book is you cannot diverge from your line. You have to, if you pick one line, you have to go through that line. And in that case, if you watch Buhani, it's not the first time he's done it. It's not going to be the last time he's done it. He goes from right to the left side of the road.
Yes.
And that's not sticking to your line, but
it's not even like, even if he had done it from the start of his sprint, I guess you could say that was the same line because he was slightly veering, and that wouldn't have been good. But the fact that he was putting a good straight line in, and then he saw Matthews coming, and as Matthews could have overtaken him, that's when he cuts. Yeah, no, it's obviously deliberate, and I think he should have been DQ'd, honestly.
See, Mathieu Trentin got DQ'd in the Tour de France when he did this to John Degenkolb. When John Degenkolb had a completely free line towards the finish line, and Trentin went in front of him, Degenkolb had to sit up, and Trentin got like 5th or 3rd or something like that. I don't know what he got, but he actually got disqualified afterwards. So we see in the Tour, they decided to just put Trentin down, but I believe the deciding factor is here that Trentin did not win.
Exactly.
But
That's
Bouhanni
exactly
won.
what I was gonna say.
So they don't dare to take it away from him.
Yeah, they don't. When something like that happens and the guy gets 5th, they'll put him at the back of the peloton. But it's much more controversial, and they don't really want to make a move unless they very much have to for a race winner. So yeah, that definitely is what the deciding factor was.
I also like what the commissioners did. They were really, really smart. For some reason, on the judging board, or in the judge, they only have 4 commissioners on the board where they have to decide on things. Why do they have an equal amount of people? That is so stupid when you have to vote. It went 2 for Matthew's side and 2 for Bouhanni's side. This is so smart for them. Like, now they'll come out like, well, we couldn't decide, so we're just going to stick with what the decision is.
How could they not just have a 5%?
Yeah. Why could they not have an uneven amount of people? That's so stupid. I mean,
you obviously don't understand how voting works.
I think they're just expecting like tough decision to come, and they just want that tie to be there in case they can't decide.
Yeah, they want an excuse. They want a way out.
Exactly, and that is really, really poor. Like what is that? Can you refereeing? Yeah, it's really poor. But I gotta say, as stupid as the USI has been in the past, or ASO, or whoever's controlling this race, that is so smart, and I could not have thought about anything clever than that. If you really don't know what to judge, you just get 4 guys at the panel and you just judge both ways, and it looks like they didn't do anything wrong because 2 guys were Australian, 2 guys were French on the board. Who knows? But I gotta agree with you. With the John Degenkolb case, there's probably a case to be made. I'm not so sure. It's iffy, but the Bouhanni one was definitely dirty. Like, you could see Matthews had to sit up in the back, like he had to get off his pedals, and that was the big deciding factor for me. Like, Matthews was actually in danger. Bouhanni was not in danger in his accident.
True.
So that's the big deciding factor for me. But we can't go back and change history unless one of these guys are doped. But probably not going to happen. So I don't think they're in. The result's going to stick, and congratulations to Bouhanni for winning that one. See, that's not the last controversial story you're going to hear the Vuelta a España, because there's another story going on right now. Before the Tour started, before the Vuelta started, there was the Valverde versus Quintana controversy in the media, not in the team. They knew they were going to go for Quintana. But on stage 6, Valverde pulled a Richie Porte. He paced all the way up the mountain and then beat Froome, Contador, Quintana, Rodriguez to the line. Who do you think they're going to go for now? Are they going to go for Alejandro Valverde or Quintana?
I think the race route and the way it works kind of tricks you into taking the overall standings too much into consideration at this point. And I feel like even though Valverde has the advantage right now, I mean, he's 15 seconds ahead, he's shown he is stronger, he's got other jerseys, I think that it was always known that Quintana is better on the longer climbs that come later, and that Valverde is better than Quintana on the hills, the early hills. And I think if it was the other way around right now, would there be any at all controversy? Absolutely not. But the way the race route goes kind of tricks you into believing maybe Valverde's stronger. I think he's just a better puncher, and that's just it.
I'd see that, because what we've seen so far, if you're following the MLC Vuelta a España in PCM, hill is more important than mountain. And in real life, that could also somewhat count, because these climbs, they're not very steep. Like, these climbs are more suitable for a guy like Valverde. That's why you're seeing Valverde, like, leave Froome and Contador behind him, which is, like, the weirdest thing I've seen all year. But also, that stage has 70,000 views right now, and so I'm not the only one who's thinking that stage needs a replay, because what actually happened? Do you remember, what was your reaction when Richie Porte paced all the way up Mont Ventoux and then proceeded to leave Contador and Quintana behind him?
Well, at that point, I wanted to kill myself. But in this case, it was not exactly that emotion, because I don't hate any of these guys. Now, you have to remember this was also a very, very hot day. And I remember this specifically as being, everybody was saying it was like very, very hot. And we saw that, I think. Uran did not do well. Remember that?
Yeah,
Uran cracked. So did Kelderman. So did Dan Martin. Aru was all right, but he couldn't finish with the top guys. And a lot of guys struggled that you wouldn't think would be struggling that far down, especially Iran. And so you never really can judge who's really better, who's really on better form, who is really suited, if there's another factor in there. So I don't know how Contador, Froome, they like the heat, but, it could have definitely played a factor, and we'll never really know. If they don't really crack by it, then you'll never really know if it had an effect.
But how is this impacting Spanish people? Like, you would expect Contador to be good in the warm weather, but he also cracked. Valverde was good at it. We obviously saw Valverde loves the hot weather, and he was just going to go for it. But why did Contador crack? Can you explain that?
I mean, Contador never cracked like Uran. He did not put in the greatest ride, and he was certainly slipping there at the end, but I feel as though that's more to do with the fact that he's still coming back, he's not on great form, and he still has a bandage, and that might be more of a reason than the heat for him.
So so you're saying Valverde is going to be a real big favorite in the heat, while a guy like Froome is not used to it because he's from, I guess he's from Kenya. How's the weather in Kenya?
Well, I don't know. Kenya's a pretty hot place. So, I think Froome is just, has the special sauce still. That's all I'm going to say.
He's got that special sauce. I
just
guess
before the race,
when you're listening to this video, the stage 9, which is probably going to be the most deciding stage in the entire Vuelta a España, it's probably over.
At least so far.
And you'll know who's gonna most likely gonna win the Vuelta a España. So you'll all the questions we're asking now, you'll probably already know the answers by then the video's coming out. But I think stage 7, which deserves a really big little talk about thing here, because there's a certain guy who crashed and a motorbike or cameraman drove over his bike. And I think you know who that is.
Yes, and I think that it's very, very not okay. I am of, I've seen Garmin crash so many times, this year. Do you think it really bothers me that much anymore when they don't lose a big chunk of time or they're out of GC contention? If they just crash, honestly, it doesn't bother me anymore that much. But then you see the motorbike run over his bike, and it really put him out of contention. You crash. He was obviously not that injured, so he would have gotten back on his bike, and that was a 10-second ride back up. Now, you just basically put him out of contention. Ryder Hagedal had his bike still. The camera bike ran over his bike. Not a race organizer's bike, not a team car. The cameraman. And to me, that is unacceptable. That the cameras should never ever play a role in the race, whether it's somebody grabbing onto one of the bikes, somebody getting moto pace, blocking the wind, or running over a crashed guy's bike. You should never have an impact on the race if you are not a cyclist. And to me, that's the part that bothered me a lot, because he was working all day and he still caught up to the other two and still passed them. So obviously he was very strong, and I think he definitely could have challenged Marchi for the win. And that's what bothered me. The cameraman running over his bike, that should not happen. And that is something that the race organizer should not happen.
Sadly, I don't think this is the last time you're going to hear this either. I'll see this either, because I'm remembering in Clásica San Sebastian, Alejandro Valverde got moto paced down the final climb. That's another scenario where a Spanish guy get featured or get helped. But also in the Tour de France, you saw Rafael Maica using the cameraman to get a little boost. It might not have been a big boost, but still it's something. Yeah, it's still something. So the cameramen, I have big respect for what they're doing. They know what they're doing, but sometimes they're in the way. I mean, they gotta respect that. It's not them we're coming to watch. We're coming to watch the cyclists. They're not the main attraction, and they shouldn't try to make themselves the main attraction. Like, we've seen people in the past interfere. I believe it was a camera car in the Tour de France that hit Johnny Hoogeland. Or he hit Fletcher, technically. And stuff like that, they need to realize that, well, they're trying to get the best shot, but we're trying to get the best stage and the best race overall. They need to respect that, but they're not.
I mean, did I really need a really zoomed-in picture of Hagedal on the ground? Could you have been 5 feet behind and I would still have been okay with the team TV pictures? Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to sacrifice, the actual race, which should never be affected by broadcasting. just to get a better shot. That's not something that should happen.
See, I actually remember a fun little thing here. Karsten Kroon and Alaphilippe, or whatever his name is from track, they crashed into each other in the Eneco Tour. The cameraman tried to get a really good shot of that. Funny enough, he actually crashed with him because he was trying to get too close to them. You can look at that video on the Cycling as well. You can just search Karsten Kroon and Alaphilippe crashing, and the cameraman goes down too. That's the title of it. So, like, sometimes it even hurts the cameraman. So think about what you're doing before you actually do it. So I think that had a deciding factor on that stage 7, because personally, I thought Hesjedal was looking very strong, but I mean, it's all speculation. I know there's
you'll never really know.
Yeah, there was a guy on Twitter. Sorry, what?
No, go.
Oh, there was a guy on Twitter, one of the betting experts that we're following on the Cycling Up. He won £1,000 of Alexander Machi winning that stage. So, I think he's pretty lucky.
Yeah, he was lucky. Who knows if that would have, kept up without a certain guy crashing. He just won $1,000 because of the cameraman running over the bike. So I guess, who knows?
Who knows? Well, that covers basically the entire Vuelta a España coverage this week. There are still some small topics to talk about. There have been kind of like they put aside because of the Vuelta a España is on right now. But let's start off with the transfers.
Oh,
or you want to talk about Vattenfall? You want to talk the race?
Yeah.
Okay, Alexander Kristoff winning a sprint in front of, was it John Degenkolb? No.
Kristoff beat Nizzolo and Gerrans. But the weird part is that Cavendish, Kittel, Greipel, these guys are all in the race. And it wasn't really hard, the race. It's pretty flat most of the time. And you saw Kristoff winning it. I think Kristoff has really shown here that he's one of the top sprinters. Now, I don't know if in a pure sprint, after no K, who would win. But Kristoff has shown that he's at least up there with Degenkolb, because Degenkolb wasn't there. Degenkolb was at the Vuelta, remember?
Yeah.
So, he's at least shown that he's up there with Degenkolb as the top, tough sprinter out there.
See, I'm Kristoff. If you see a stage profile and it says 200 kilometers and it's lumpy, put your money on Alexander Kristoff. He is the man right now. Like, I would even put him higher than Sagan right now. I think Sagan is
yes, I would definitely.
Sagan has not been in form lately, or just in general this year.
Sagan, we forget that in the Vuelta so far, yesterday, when all this blocking thing was happening, Sagan got third. He lost to Buhani and Matthews. And Matthews, these guys are really good, but Matthews, he should be able to hold Matthews' wheel, and he couldn't do it.
Well, in his defense, I don't think he's training for the Vuelta a España. He's getting ready for the World Championship coming up soon, which I'm sure Tinkoff gave him a little boost of money if he get that. Like, it's a little incentive to train for that. Because I'm also thinking that Cannondale have to be pretty pissed at Peter Sagan for not going for stage wins. They could really use those points right now. I'm not sure where they are in the rankings, but they couldn't be high.
Well, I guess they've just resigned themselves to not finishing.
Oh, since they're emerging, they're emerging.
But I think another takeaway from Vattenfall was Gerrans in third. I guess he's a pure sprinter now. That's what he's doing. With Cavendish and Kittel 5th and 6th. And it's not like they crashed or they were caught that far behind. They were in decent positions. And a certain someone actually sprinted around them while they were all opening their sprints. So I just want to acknowledge Tyler Farah out-sprinting Mark Cavendish and Marcel Kittel in the sprint.
First and last time that
not the first time for Cavendish. He did that about 5 years ago a lot.
When Cavendish was still a little child.
When Cavendish was a little boy. And so was Farah, back when they were kids. But Marcel Kittel, I was kind of disappointed to not see him do anything. I don't think there's a sprint this year that he's been in that he hasn't at least put in a really hard sprint.
I don't think he cares anymore, in all honesty.
That could have been it, because I watched the replay a few times, obviously, just to see Farah. And he launched his sprint. Both Cavendish and Kittel launched their sprint. But I don't know if it was a fully dedicated sprint. We didn't see Kittel with that just monster push that he has, and we know he has. That was weird for me, but I guess it's one of those times. It's a one-day classic. Nobody's peaking for it, so anything can happen. Tyler Farah can beat Cavendish and Kittel, get a 4th place, and then they say he's not worth a World Tour contract. Okay.
There were some rumors that he was going to go to Mount Quebec.
Well, Mount Quebec said that they are interested in him.
Yeah. Mount Quebec has apparently been rumored to be in contact with, what's his name? He's a sprinter, Matthew Goss and Tyler
Farah, and they already signed Bosanag. It's like where sprinters go to die.
Yeah. Theo Boss is also there, so that's perfect
Theo
analogy.
Cholik. It's where sprinters go to die. Another place you can go and die, technically. Robert Kieselowski is going to Tinko Saxo Bank, and for me, he just committed suicide. I mean, you're going to a place where you already have Contador, Kreuziger, even Basso. Kreuziger's banned.
Well, he's not banned yet.
No, he's banned. He appealed it, and he didn't get it.
What, so 2 years now?
He hasn't been sentenced, but he's been banned.
Okay, so he's gone. But then, so they have Micah, Contador, Rogers, Roach, Basso.
Roach is gone.
Oh, Roach is going to Sky. That's true. Roach is going to Sky. And
if Kreuziger's there, I think that's a horrible decision. But I think he'll kind of get the Roach role, so it's not that bad for him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely better than Trek. Anything is better than Trek, in my opinion.
True.
But we'll see what he's going to do. I think what Tinkoff is doing right now, he's trying to be the dominant factor. He wants to build Sky 2.0. He wants to win the Classics. He wants to win the sprint, like the Ardennes Classics as well. He wants to win the cobblestones. He wants to win the Giro d'Italia. He wants to win the Tour de France. He wants to win the Vuelta a España. He wants to win the green jersey as well of the Tour de France.
Yeah,
he wants everything.
Got stock on now.
He wants everything, and honestly, I think they can get it.
He has the money to do it.
Yeah.
He has the money to do it, so he will do it.
Who's the next guy to pick up?
We've seen Sky make some moves this week as well to try to combat this. Wout Poels now is a member of Sky.
He's gone. They're gonna get Roach also. Like they're stealing one of their riders. So
they might. I don't know.
That's pretty much confirmed.
Really?
Yeah. There is a training picture of Richie Porte and Roach together.
Well, yeah.
So it's pretty much confirmed.
Because I knew that Roach was going to go there, but then they signed Poles, and I was like, well, that's kind of the same role.
You can never have too many Roaches and Poles.
I guess exactly for Sky, that's kind of...
They don't need, they're getting rid of Ebba Bosenhagen, who's going to MTM Quebec, so they're getting rid of that classic sprinter type of riders. Like, they're going to get rid of Ben Swift, possibly, and then try something else, just go for the mountains. I mean, what if they just went all mountains and just got rid of their sprinters and their punchers? Would that be a valid strategy?
I mean, for Sky, it's halfway done already. They have Swift. They let Bosenhagen go. They really don't have a hilly puncher anymore. I guess Now, but Now's done nothing since he came back from his little band, the tiny, tiny little band. And maybe that's because his blood values have been adjusted to work right.
Kieran Locke is banned.
Kieran Locke's banned because of doping. And in a few years, they'll all be banned, so the team will fold in, 2018. I'm
just waiting for the next Festina case, and it's just going to be called the Sky case.
Exactly.
That's most likely what's going to happen. But speaking about doping, Daryl Impey, who we actually spoke about before the tour, we were like, oh, it's a real shame to see a big name like this getting banned. Actually, he's been cleared from all charges. It turned out that he went to the pharmacy, and he bought something to combat a sickness or something. He was sick, and then apparently it showed up as doping, something like that. I'm not so sure. If you guys know what it is, please do tell me. I'm not this is why we need Chudude. He's like the
TUI
the
expert on
master,
these things.
exactly. But he's currently sick as well, so watch out. He doesn't get taken for doping. He might get banned from the weekly rant. Who knows? UCI's everywhere, even the ASO.
That cold medication. Are you kidding me? It's EPO for real. I didn't know.
I gotta say, I'm so happy Daryl Impey got cleared. He is probably one of my favorite riders because I love the backstage pass. It's the best thing to ever happen to cycling, I believe. Except for Dan Jones, he can fuck the fuck off. Yeah. But, Daryl Impey is such a nice guy, and it would be a shame to lose him because I think he's a big factor in cycling right now. It's just as a person and as a rider. He could have done something in the tour, I believe. What is your opinion of Impey?
He's a good guy, and that's why I was surprised when he got cleared. But I have to admit that I did make a bad judgment on him, and I did when he got
Caught.
suspended, I was like, wow. I mean, I guess that shows the state of cycling, that a nice guy like this can be doping. But I'm glad that he wasn't.
Well, it also shows the state of cycling. Like, the least amount of, supposed doping gets you suspended. Like, if you're sick, are you just gonna sit home and die? Like, I'm too scared of getting suspended. Like, it's like going back to the Middle Ages. What are you gonna do? I mean, this is so stupid. You have to, film yourself, do a vlog. Mr. Brian Cookson, I am currently sick. I am now gonna take these pills to help me. I hope they are approved by you. Thank you. Please leave a like.
I think it's part of a professional cyclist's job to look to see what's in a medication at least and make sure that it's not any banned substance. I think that is something you have to take into account, but sometimes, you can't take that too far.
I guess. Well, that rounds up this edition of the Weekly Rant, guys. Unless there's something else you want to talk about, Baseball Lover?
Well, West France Plouay happened today, and it was really just... I mean, there's not much to say about it because it was just a scrap heap from 50k out. They're just groups attacking, getting caught attacking. Chavanel won it out of a little group sprint. Christophe got 8th from the peloton a couple of seconds later, and yeah, that's about it.
So, on that note, guys, thank you guys for watching. Go to Baseball Lover's channel. You should also go to the tutor's channel. When he is back, he's currently sick, so we gotta give him some WADA approved medication so he does not get banned. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.